Welcome back, everybody. I'm speaking with Jayden McGinlay. He's a very talented Australian actor. It's a pleasure to have you on. There's a lot of exciting stuff that's happening. Let's get people to know you better. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. I was telling Jayden off screen that he reminds me of an actor, so I'm going to let everybody take a close look for just a second and guess if they have anybody in mind, because the first person that came to mind is Josh Hartnett.
Oh,
That's
really?
that's the first thing that came to mind for me. So have you
Interesting.
been told that at all, or
No, I've never been told that before. Interesting.
it's one of my superpowers. I know who people look like, and I don't know why that is. It's one of my things. I look at a person and I know who they remind me of, and I just need
That's
to
so funny.
find some
That's
photos.
cool.
Yeah. Anyway, that's not a bad comp, especially being an actor. So
No, well, I've been told multiple times I look more like Christian Slater.
I see that certainly.
That's what
Yeah,
I get a lot. Like him as like Heathers, like JD,
yeah,
that kind of time period.
yeah, and
Yeah.
the hair and kind of the younger version of Christian. I get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but more Josh. At least
Really?
as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, uh, everybody, whatever you think, let's see who you think Jaden looks like. Put that right below the video in the comments, and we'll discuss. So welcome again, Jaden. I tell people a little bit about who you are and why people should be excited.
hmm well, hello everybody. My name is Jayden McGinlay. I'm 17 years old. I've been acting on stage since I was 6 years old, actually. And then I started screen acting when I was 9. Um, and so I've done a lot of musicals, and then I've been in TV shows and feature films and things like that as well. So yeah, I'm very blessed to be here, and I'm excited.
Yeah, and are you doing most other stuff in the US? Are you doing some things back in Australia? Where are you working most?
Yeah, so I'm based in Australia, and the past few films that I've done have actually been filmed right here in Australia. So that's been cool. It's just like a drive away to set. So I've been lucky in that aspect. Last year I filmed The Curious Case of Dolphin Bay,
Mhm.
and that's on the Disney Channel now. And we took 3 weeks to film that, and that was just like in Brisbane and the Gold Coast in Queensland. So
Nice.
yeah, yeah,
Haven't had a chance to visit Australia. I'm a huge tennis fan, so I definitely need to make it to the Open one of these days, hopefully in the next
yes,
couple of years.
you definitely come over. It is very fun.
Yeah, the I do again. This is stupid, but this is what Americans think of Australia, or at least a part of us. Australia is beautiful, and then just be careful because there are all sorts of things that want to eat you along the way. If you're not
I mean, they're not completely wrong. Obviously, because I love going on like hikes and things like that, and sometimes you do come across the occasional snake or spider, so you just gotta know how to deal with that, you know? Um, yeah, but I personally, I don't encounter those very often. But yeah, I guess you're gonna have to come over and see for yourself.
Yeah. The on Facebook yesterday, we it started going viral. There's a video of an old man in Australia that hit a crocodile on the head with the frying pan. So
What?
just walking down in his backyard, and there's a croc just being very aggressive, and takes a frying pan, hits him on the head twice. The croc turns around.
I
So
have not heard of that before, but I need to look at that now. Jeez,
I'll
that
I'll
sounds sick.
I'll send it to you. And it says, the
Yeah.
heading is only in Australia. So
As soon as they land, that's what they get.
yes, yeah. Well, one of my friends was saying that she was visiting Australia and she loved it. She said it's beautiful, beautiful place. And they were on a hike, and the guide said, okay, you have to walk along this path because if you go a little bit towards, to the right, there are
Mhm.
these kind of bushes. They're not bushes, but there are these things that kind of grab onto you, and then you slide. they kind of slide you down whatever, and then you're not coming back from there. Like, okay, that's good to know. I'll
Wow.
be very careful when I'm in Australia.
Interesting. I'm not sure what kind of plants they've been looking at. But yeah, but talking about like how nice it is. Like personally, I love how everything is like so accessible, you know? Like
Yeah.
you have the beach and then you drive like 15 minutes and then you have the mountains. And it's like it's awesome. And then there's like theme parks and all that good stuff. So yeah.
Australia is great. Again, I kind of growing up, you see Crocodile Dundee, and that was the first, I think, the first thing that I knew about Australia, and then tennis, Australian Open, and then that kind of took over. And we have so many
Really?
Australian actors in US that are hugely successful that it's, some of the Americans think that all of the actors come from Australia.
Really? Interesting. Well, yeah, there are a lot of good Australian actors right now.
Yeah, and is it again? Is it training? Is it the fact that you guys can do every accent and you're very versatile? Is there anything that's in the mix in Australia that makes great actors?
That's very interesting what you said about accents just quickly because I feel
Mhm.
like, yeah, that's actually really interesting because English people aren't like they I feel like it's harder for them to do the American accent and vice versa, like Americans for English people. But that is, yeah, that's actually really interesting. I'm not really sure why
Mhm.
Australians can do both accents well. I think it's because here we can like cut it's everything is really accessible, like TV wise. And so I feel like we pick up a lot of stuff from there. Yeah,
Could be.
interesting.
And it's great that some of the projects that you were mentioning are in Australia because I'm in Chicago, so I'm in a secondary market. I'm an actor, so for us, if you want to be in a Chicago show and have a big role, you have to be from New York or LA. You cannot
Right.
be from Chicago. So what I
Yeah.
heard when I talked to some friends of mine from Australia is they
Mm.
said that there's kind of a limit to the amount of work. And if you want to do more, then you have to come stateside. Have you heard that, or are things changing for the better that there's more work in Australia?
Yeah, well, I've heard that, but also because of like Corona and stuff,
Right.
everything's being done through like self-tapes and things like that, I've found. And then obviously, yeah, big projects are coming here as well now, so that's really exciting.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I did Children of the Corn in 2020, and they flew over here for this, and we filmed that in Sydney actually. But
Nice.
we actually filmed that during the first like proper lockdown.
Yeah.
So that was crazy, but yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah. Australia is really serious with the lockdowns.
Definitely.
Um,
Yeah,
it's
it was a bit hectic, but yeah, we got it done, and I'm really excited for when
good.
that comes.
Good. Good.
Yeah,
Keeping our fingers crossed. Omicron keeps changing, so let's hope it just kind of all phases away.
yeah,
Um, So why acting? There are all sorts of things that you can do. I know you said you started early, but what is it
yeah.
about it that kind of wanted you to make it a career?
That is a great question. I, that is such a complicated question. There are so many like
Mhm.
aspects that feed into this. Um, I love, first of all, I just love telling stories. I love doing things that I don't usually do in my daily life, you know. I love personally challenging myself. And also, like one goal that I have actually is just like to cover like every single genre or almost all genres because I want to
Okay.
like stretch that kind of like skill set, you know, and my knowledge as well. Um, and yeah, also I just really have fun doing it. I love um like audience interaction as well, and I love hearing like their responses from stuff, and it's good to have that connection with them, I feel like as well. Um, yeah, so
Yeah.
that's another reason I do it. But yeah, there's
Okay.
many more aspects that I can think of, but yeah.
Well, we'll dive into some of them, but you've mentioned that you want to cover all genres. You've mentioned that you love musicals, and we'll come back to that because that's my happy place. But in terms of genres,
Yeah.
have you seen that you're kind of being slotted into certain types of roles, or you've been successful into saying, hey, listen, I want to try this and this and this, and we're not going to be going down just one path?
Yeah. Well, the past before the Curious Case of Dolphin Bay, which is obviously like a family fun like adventure. I've done two like horror feature films before that.
Yeah.
Um, and it's so funny because Sweet River, which is that came out in 2020, it's on Netflix. That was the cane fields. That was set around cane fields.
Mm.
And then the year after that, I got Children of the Corn, which is set in the cornfields. And so it's nice to have that kind of change and to do something much more like lighthearted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved, I had fun on all of these sets. I actually genuinely did, and the people were really lovely as well.
And are you a fan of horror movies in general? Is that the genre that you enjoy watching?
I don't mind it. There are definite some of my favorite movies are horror movies, like The Sixth Sense. I'm not sure
Yes.
if that's like a horror or like more of a psychological thriller, but I would count that as horror, right? That's definitely one of my
Yeah.
favorite ones. There's only one horror movie that has scared me my entire life, and that is the movie Lights Out. I don't know why that scared me so much. It's just the fact that have you seen it?
I have not. I know of it. It's
Yeah,
incredible,
it's
and
really good.
it's yeah, the way that it's done and the acting is unbelievable. It's not
Yeah,
my genre.
definitely. Yeah, and the writing is really good as well. And so yeah, that was literally the only movie that actually freaked me out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The Sixth Sense was incredible, and I was a huge fan of the director. And then I would actually categorize Signs as a horror movie because of how horribly bad it was. But
Really.
yeah, bad, bad. M. Night Shyamalan, come on down. Let's talk about your choices. You're a
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
really, really talented guy, but some of the choices you made were just not good, man.
That's not
Um,
it. We need to work on that maybe, It's a
yeah,
process.
yeah.
Yeah.
But again, the Sixth Sense was incredible.
Yeah.
It's
And the
still
cast as well is amazing. The acting in that from like Tony Collette and Bruce Willis is
yes,
crazy.
it,
It's so
it's very very high rating in my book.
definitely.
I so being in a horror film and from the acting perspective versus kind of enjoying the genre. Um, like I said, for me, I don't like watching it, but I think being in a horror movie would be a lot of fun because you're seeing kind of the other side of it, and just that should
Yeah.
be thrilling. So how did you
It's
find being in it?
Yeah, it's so fun. And Children of the Corn, it was quite light-hearted the set as well, so that
Yeah.
made it fun as well. Obviously, I can't give too much away right now, but there may be some type of monster in the film, and
Uh-huh.
we were looking at a pineapple going across the room.
Yeah.
Um, um, so that was interesting, just like a pineapple on a stick, and then like going off the screen, and we're like, "Oh, that's our island! Whoa, how crazy! Look at the monster!" Uh,
That's
but yeah, it
real
was so
acting right there.
fun. And sorry.
I was saying that's real acting right there.
um, but yeah, it was really fun. I had a really good time doing that. It was quite a long shoot, that one. That went for about 3 months.
Mm.
Um, and just talking a little bit more about like the lockdown and things like that. Obviously, we were filming during lockdown, so it was like a little bit stressful initially because obviously we didn't really know what COVID was back then. But Children of the Corn was like the first film in the world to like actually shoot entirely during the whole lockdown, and then they produced like the first like safety manual on set, that like protocol manual, and that was used by tons of productions afterwards. Um, and so yeah, it's really like an honor to be a part of a film like that because that was really special.
Yeah, we remember when the pandemic started, one of our national icons, Tom Hanks, and his lovely wife were in Australia, and they got sick.
Yeah,
Like, oh my God,
yeah.
Tom died.
Filming the Elvis movie. That's right.
Yeah,
That's
which
crazy.
I'm seeing I haven't seen it, but seeing the previews and watching some of the interviews with him and Austin
Yeah.
are that's a movie that that's going to win some awards.
I'm really looking forward to watching that. I cannot wait. I'm not
Yeah,
like a massive like Elvis Presley like big like super fan.
yeah,
But I do really like respect his music and then um seeing the clips for that made me really want to watch it and actually explore like that character in that story because it's really awesome.
it is. Let's go back to musicals again. My happy place. Now,
Let's do it.
so this is a question I hate when people ask me, so I'm going to ask you instead. What is your favorite musical?
That's a great question. Um I gotta go classic. I gotta go Phantom of the Opera.
Okay.
And I would definitely love to be like a part of that as well, like in the future, possibly playing the Phantom. That would be really sick.
Yeah,
Um,
great
yeah,
part.
yeah. I also love Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the musical. That's like so
Mhm.
fun, you know? And like the way, like the production design of that, I love. I love the look of that. Um, and if I had to pick one more, it would probably be Blood Brothers as well.
Hmm. Okay.
That's it. Have you heard of that?
No, I'm writing that down.
Not many people have heard of it, but it's a really good musical. The songs are amazing in it. The story is amazing. You should definitely go check it out.
Okay.
How about you?
I'll
What are your favorite musicals?
thank you. I appreciate that. It's like I can name a lot. When people ask me, a bunch of
Not to
things.
put you on the spot or anything. Not to put you on the
Yeah.
spot.
The recent one that I saw that blew my mind, and it's completely my style, is Something Rotten. I don't know if you've watched that one.
I
It's
haven't watched that one.
Something Rotten. It's essentially, I even looked it up. I'm like, did Mel Brooks write this one? Because it has Mel Brooks all over it.
Really?
It's amazing. Something Rotten is perfect.
I'm gonna
So
write that.
try that, and then Fiddler on the Roof and Holiday Inn,
Hmm.
The Sound of Music, obviously,
Yeah.
and I I kind of when I immigrated to the United States, I was 14 years old, and I was
Mhm.
learning English, and I grew up on baseball. I grew up on watching the Cubs because there was no cable. You just had regular channels. So it was the
Yeah.
Cubs, it was Chippendales cartoons, and it was old musicals. So Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers,
Yeah.
this is what I kind of grew up on. So all of that, Hello Dolly. This
Yeah.
is my happy place. As a matter
Classics.
of fact, yeah, like anytime I'm in real life or after a heavy day on set, when I'm doing some dramatic work and I need to get back to myself, I get home, I watch an old musical for about 15 minutes, and
Yeah.
I am changed energetically, and I'm back to back to me. So it's my
That's so
way of
good.
getting back.
So good. It's actually like crazy the power that like musical theater has on people. It's so awesome
It's
to
amazing.
like to think about as well. Yeah.
Which is what I missed terribly during the pandemic because it all shut down and we
Yeah.
couldn't go, we couldn't see anything. So it was just, thank
It was
God for that.
crazy. And lots of new musicals were gonna come out that year as well. Like
Yeah.
there was that what was it? Was it the Michael Jackson musical that was gonna come out that year?
Yeah. And Diana the musical was coming
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
One of my friends who was amazing, it was in that. And then, that got
Oh,
canceled.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
He's an
Nice.
awesome Canadian actor, Bruce Dow, D-O-W. Anybody who wants to watch him, there's an interview. Just go back. It was early. But
Nice.
okay, so that's cool. I wrote that down, so I'm gonna check out
That's
the
sick.
music you recommended.
I love this chat.
Um,
This is good.
yeah, and in terms of again, you said you want to be in all genres. Um, if you were typecast,
Mhm.
and I'm the casting director, and somebody comes to me and says, you have to cast Jayden. What is the role that you want me to cast you
That's a good question. There are a couple.
in? Okay.
I would love to be um yeah, I'd love to be the lead role in like a psychological thriller or something like that. I think that would be
Mhm.
really interesting to explore that.
I see it.
Um, watching it, I love those kind of like gritty scenes, you know, and that would be really interesting to explore. But also, I would love to do a superhero film.
Okay.
That would be great. That would be the dream, like Marvel or DC, either one.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's not put you in a limitation of which one you prefer because we want you to
I'm
do the other. So
not sure.
we're avoiding that question. Um, who from the kind of you know not your generation, but the actors who are young, up and coming, who do you really like and want to emulate, if we can put it that way?
Hmm. Um, Younger actors. Definitely Timothy Chalamet.
Hmm.
I love that like vulnerability that he has, and also his versatility as well. I think he's great. Um, I'm not sure if Andrew Garfield is like an up and like younger actor, but
A little bit more up
he's definitely up there. I love that he does screen and stage as well.
there. Hmm.
Um, yeah, I watched a play that he did last year, I think, just online, and that was like amazing the way he portrayed that character. I can't remember what the play was called.
Are you talking about?
Angels, Angels in America?
I haven't
I think
watched it.
yeah,
I
I
know
think it
he
could be
did
that one.
he just did a musical. That was, but that was a film, so it was not on stage.
All
Um,
right. Was that Tick Tick Boom?
yes,
I have not seen that. I really want to see that. Oh my gosh, that is on my
my
list.
my daughter, who's your age, is completely in love with it. She's seen it. I don't know how many times.
That's awesome. Yeah, I really want to watch that. I need to
Uh,
find.
one guy that you haven't mentioned, I'll bring him up because I thought you would, Tom Holland, because again,
Oh yeah, he's great. He's great. Yeah, I love that he's like producing as well as acting. That would definitely be one of my goals in the future as well to produce a film. Um, and yeah, um, I love how much he can actually do, like physically as well as like emotionally. Obviously we can see his acrobatic skills in like obviously Spider-Man and Uncharted and things like that. But then he also did Cherry, you know, which is completely different, but also really amazing. So yeah, I would love to work with him one day. That would be awesome.
yeah, he seems like a really, really good guy. I
Yeah,
like
yeah. He
people.
seems really down to earth as well and just fun. Yeah,
Yeah, say
yeah,
that's those are the people who I appreciate. Very, very talented, very serious actor, but doesn't take himself seriously and is just a good guy.
yeah. That's good. That's good. I love an actor like that, I think. And I loved it makes them really easy to work with as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're open, right? You don't want somebody who has too many walls put up. It's like you said, it's
Yeah,
all
and then yeah, especially if you're trying to do like emotional scenes with them, you need like that openness and that real like genuine connection so it
yeah,
can show on screen, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so what would be in terms of kind of an acting toolkit, getting technical for for a minute, because there are many different approaches, and I think I know which way you're going to lean, but I want to ask you, what is the thing that kind of you go back to most often in order to get in the character, stay in the scene, be really grounded?
Yeah. Um, I'm not sure if there is a specific approach. Like, obviously, I break down the scripts and go through the character, look at the background, things like that. Um, but also, I was told from somebody, one of my private actor coaches, to just live truthfully under the imaginary circumstances.
Yeah.
Um, and that's really important, you know, and that applies to stage and screen, you know.
Mhm.
Obviously, screen is like this, and stage is like this. But people are like, "Oh, what's the difference between stage and screen?" You know, and I'm like, it's more or less the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's just stage is better from my perspective because you're doing things in sequence and you have a lot more prep time and you get a chance to really kind of live in the character on screen.
Yeah,
Everything is shot out of sequence. You have no
yeah,
idea when things are happening. You're like, oh, great, let's do this
yeah,
again.
yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm not sure if I have a preference. Definitely because I've been doing musical theater since I was 6. Like I feel like I have um, those kind of skills that I could use later on if I want to do more like professional musicals. Um, but then yeah, I've definitely been more focused on screen recently. But if a big like professional musical did come up, obviously I'd go for that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's important kind of not to pick a lane completely because
Yeah.
you need variety and you need kind
Def-
of influx
Yeah.
of these different circumstances. One
Yeah.
of
I feel like
the
that makes you like more well-rounded, not only as like
yeah
an actor, but also as a person, you know?
yeah
And it's good to like challenge yourself like that as well.
yeah, and it grounds you because unfortunately theater doesn't pay. But it grounds you as you're doing this because you love it, and you're doing this
Yeah.
because it's your craft, and it's a nice remembrance of why you're doing it, as opposed to kind of hopefully getting some of the bigger paychecks for features or such.
Yeah.
One of my favorite actors is Mark Rylance. I think he's brilliant, and he spent most of his career on stage. So
Yeah.
um, very
That's
cool.
awesome. Yeah.
Um, Lastly, as I let you go, and it's been a pleasure chatting with you and getting to know you, but
Likewise.
um, what drives you right now? What's kind of that thing that fuels Jaden?
Yeah, good question. What drives me right now? I think I just love creating, you know? I love because I like make my own films and make my own music as well on the side.
Mhm.
Um but also just like again, like going back to like the audience responses. Um that's that definitely like motivates me to keep going as well. And also I have a really good team of people around me. And that definitely like helps me keep going, and that gives me the motivation to keep going as well. Um, but I feel like obviously because early on I knew that I wanted to do acting and performing as a career. Um, and I feel like I'm quite like a determined and dedicated person. And so not to sound like facetious or anything like that, but just like yeah, since I was like 8 years old, I knew that that was what I wanted to do. And so that drives me because I don't see myself in any other field, you know. I know that this is what I want to do forever. Um, and so yeah, that's kind of what drives me to keep going. Just the fact that I know that I can do it and that I will do it for a long time, I think.
That's great, and I wish that for you.
Thank
I
you.
definitely see that determination. So it's good to see. The only people who should be in this business are people who need to be very serious and in a way obsessed about it. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
But I'm a little bit obsessed. But
Perfect.
yeah,
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure, Jaden. Best of luck to you, and I'll go check out that musical.
awesome. Thank you very much for having me. That was fun.
It's my pleasure. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in to another episode of Let's Dive In. You can follow Jaden. All of the links are right below the video. And again, please tell us who you think that he looks like. I'm willing
Yes.
to bet it's Josh, but that's my.
I'm
Take care,
very interested.
everybody. See you.